Did you know one of the best ports of an Alaska cruise is not actually in Alaska at all? It's Victoria, British Columbia, a charming little city with so much to do and see, even if you only have a few hours on the last night of your cruise.
Hi, I'm Kristen from the bargainchasingtourist.com. I've been cruising since 2000 and I actually worked on cruise ships for 5 years. So let's check out my favorite city in Canada, Victoria, British Columbia.
It's not hard to fall in love with Victoria, nicknamed the City of Gardens. The weather here is milder than the rest of Canada, allowing flowers to bloom all over the city. Victoria is the oldest city in the Pacific Northwest, and the Indigenous culture has been maintained along with the British influence. Victoria is small enough to feel quaint, cozy, and safe. In fact, the most prevalent crime here is bike theft. The people are especially friendly and welcoming to visitors. When you arrive by cruise ship, my favorite way to see Victoria is by pedal cab because the drivers individualize each tour based on what you want to see and experience and how much time you have to spend. The open air cabs will also allow you to see a lot better than a bus. This video is not sponsored by the pedal cabs, but I highly recommend them. Both times I took the pedal cabs, we were requested to visit Beacon Hill Park, which I think is a must see when you visit Victoria. You could realistically spend the day here walking through the park and admiring the flowers and the waterfalls. I live in the desert, so getting to be in nature that looks like this, it's just so peaceful. Beacon Hill Park is also a perfect picnic spot. If you're bringing kids, there's a playground and a petting zoo. Pedal or stroll down the waterfront to the Inner Harbour, which is Victoria's center. The British colonial influence is evident with the regal Parliament buildings and the beautiful Empress Hotel, which has been treating guests like royalty since 1908. Members of the British monarchy have actually stayed at the Empress. If you are in Victoria in the afternoon, do not miss the centuries old tradition of high tea at the Empress. I went to afternoon tea on my first trip to Victoria, and the experience was worth it. I always like to stop in downtown or Old Town Victoria, which is the commercial hub of the city. This is where you find the restaurants, the museums, these beautiful historical buildings, and of course, shopping. A truly captivating place to see in Victoria is Craigdarroch Castle, a Victorian mansion built in the 1890s that has been meticulously maintained. Tours of the inside of the castle do end at 4 o'clock, so if your cruise ship gets into Victoria later, you can still admire the castle from the outside. Don't miss learning about the rich indigenous culture of the First Nations people of this land. Our pedal cab guide showed us this giant totem and explained how each animal at each level of the totem has a significance and a story for its place on the totem, which I thought was amazing. Victoria is also home to one of the oldest Chinatowns where it was once legal to manufacture opium here. Crazy. You can walk through Fantan Alley, the narrowest commercial street in North America. Simply driving around the neighborhoods of Victoria is worth your time to see places like this, which looks like it's from a movie. I also love sightseeing around the residential neighborhoods like James Bay with these adorable houses. These two were actually built in the early 1900s and were sold from a catalog for less than $2,000. Your cruise will likely offer excursions to Butchart Gardens, which is outside Victoria and offers 55 acres of flowers and greenery. You can also do whale watching tours in Victoria. The waters of Victoria are home to orcas and humpback whales. I first visited Victoria on a cruise in 2001, and I found the city to be so charming and inviting. This year, I actually went to Victoria twice, and on my most recent cruise, I specifically looked for a voyage that spent the entire day in Victoria. If your cruise includes Victoria, don't stay on the ship, even if you only have a few hours. You can see and enjoy so much of this amazing city in a short time. I'm Kristen, the bargain chasing tourist. Let me know in the comments if you plan to visit Victoria in the next year and what you like to do in this city. If you want more cruise content like this, make sure to like and subscribe. And I hope to see you at sea.